All right, so the first question comes from Stephen Lee. Would you change anything that you do if you were interested in actually finding a serious girlfriend? The only thing that I would change is the type of girl I go for. Me personally, if I were gonna date a girl, it'd probably be a good girl. Like a lot of guys say, it's what is it? Fuck the bad girl, wife the good girl. And I actually kind of go by that. So that's probably the only thing I would change, because when it comes to verbal or physical game, I mean, that's what works. So I wouldn't change it if I were trying to have sex with a girl one night, or if I was trying to wife her. To me, nothing would change in that sense. And obviously, I wouldn't take my fuck buddy to the same quality of a restaurant as the girl I'm dating. Baller for Life asks, "Hey Jason, I have epilepsy, and you said you have epilepsy too in your About Me video. I went on a study date with a girl a few weeks ago, and I had a seizure in front of her. I told her I hope it doesn't ruin our friendship, and she said she's cool with it, but after that we stopped talking for a while, and I should have told her I had epilepsy when I just met. But my question is, when and how do I tell girls or a friend that I have epilepsy before they get put off by it? I feel that I'm getting cock-blocked by my medical condition, and how do I cope with it so it doesn't interfere with my game?" Okay, first of all, having epilepsy isn't something you have to cope with. It's something that you have to accept. It's a part of your life. You can't change that about yourself, so the only thing that you can do is accept it. And once you accepted it into your life as a part of you, and you were comfortable with it, and you're confident about the fact that you have it, it doesn't matter, it's not going to change how you live your life, that's when it'll be seen as something that isn't that big of a deal. If you make it a big deal by apologizing or saying, "I hope this doesn't ruin our friendship," that makes it seem like it's not okay to have a seizure. It makes it seem like you're not comfortable with it, so you're apologizing for how uncomfortable you are, which in turn makes them uncomfortable. And trust me, I've gone through all that. I've gone through the uncomfortable glances that they give you. I've gone through the phases of me hating life because I didn't want to be the one that had it. Why does it have to be me? I also went through the stages of, just not even taking your medication because you want to beat it. You want to try to fight through it and be normal. Yeah, it's not going to happen, I know this now. I've gone through all the negative aspects of it, and I've come out and realized, this is something that I have to accept personally. And it's just a personal issue. And as for when to tell people about it, that's on you. If you want to go up to all the random girls you talk to and just shake their hand and say, "Hey, my name is X and I have epilepsy," go for it. Probably not the best conversation starter. Me personally, I don't bring it up because there's no point in them knowing. She doesn't have to know about my past and what I've gone through until either I'm going to ask her out, maybe like a serious relationship, or she witnesses an episode. Either that or she's a really close friend, of course. If she's a really close friend and she's seen me go through it, or she's aware of it, I'll mention it. I'll say, "Hey, I do have epilepsy. I may have a seizure. This is what you do. This is the steps you take to make sure that I'll be okay. Call 911. I'm sure you know the drill." In short, this applies with all medical conditions. This is something that you're going to have to deal with. This is a part of who you are, so don't be ashamed of it. Just embrace it. Who you want to tell is up to you. But how you present your topic should be in a way that they can see that you're comfortable with that condition. Lace Up asks, "I'm having a lot of trouble with mid-game, and I often run out of things to say after a confident approach. So I often ditch the conversation and go for the number, which hasn't been working for obvious reasons. What can I do to remedy this, and what are some good things to say to girls off the bat if asking her a simple standard question bores me, as well as her, and stales out the interaction?" One thing that I used to do that worked really well was I would just think of 3 things and keep them in the back of my head, whether they were questions that I were going to ask, maybe a story that I wanted to tell, or even just your hobbies, maybe 3 hobbies that you have, and have that in the back of your head so when the conversation starts to get dull or slows down, you can reach back for those 3 and just pull one out. And I don't mean just use all 3 at one time. It's whenever you run out of things to say, then use that as backup. It's not your initial conversation starters. And we actually did a whole podcast on this, so look out for it in the next few weeks or so. Camly W asks, I normally don't have time to go out and hit on random girls, so I do this as I'm on my way to and from work. And near my work, there's a small park that I go to hit on girls on my lunch break and after work. Is it weird for me to go there every day and do the same thing? This is in New York City, by the way. No. In no way is this weird. The fact that you're going out and hitting on girls is actually awesome to begin with. And the fact that you're doing it, when you have time is something that most people don't do already. So that's awesome. That's a bonus. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you see the same people day after day. You just don't have to hit on them, or if you want to, you can hit on them. It doesn't matter. It's only going to be weird if you think it's weird. And especially because you're in New York City, I'm sure there's going to be new people walking through that park every single day, so don't worry about it. Ramik asked, how come you never asked her to take off her hood or sunglasses? In this particular interaction, I didn't ask her to take her sunglasses or her hood off because in the beginning, it started off a little rough. She wasn't really interested in talking to me, she didn't want to get to know me, and it took a lot just to get her to start talking. Now, if I were to tell her to remove her sunglasses or do something for me, she may not take that the right way. That might come off as pushy, and that might turn her off. So instead, I kept it safe and made sure that she was comfortable with the situation and that I was able to talk to her without her feeling uncomfortable. But just know that 95% of the time, I would ask them to take their hood off or their sunglasses off. Because personally, I like seeing their eyes when I talk to them. And it also removes any shield that they feel that they can hide behind. Second Chance asks, you guys teach us a lot of skills of talking to girls, be confident, and all that stuff. But once you're in a relationship, how do you keep your woman? I'll briefly touch up on this topic because there's no way I'm going to be able to tell you, the entire gist of it in a 5 to 10 minute Q&A. Now, here's a few things you should keep in mind. This is just like off the top of my head. But one, be spontaneous. That's always good. It's a really good way to keep the relationship interesting. Just tell her maybe at like 2 a.m. to grab her coat. We're going to go out and get some ice cream. No guy does that. And that's an awesome way. It's very cute. 2, be faithful or slick, whatever floats your boat. If you're going to cheat, don't get caught. And 3, compliments are nice. A lot of guys forget to give their girlfriends compliments because they're already going out. But if she dressed nice one day, mention it. If she gets a haircut, mention it. Those are good things to make her feel special. Alexander asks, I would have walked away from that first one quite quickly, actually. She was being really boring in that conversation. Should I stick around with such girls for practice or just think, okay, fuck this, you're really lame, and walk away? I think that depends on how many girls you talk to, like per day. Let's say you only talk to 2 girls a day, maybe you should stay in there for practice because you don't talk to that many girls. But let's say you're talking to 10 girls a day, then you have more options, so you have the option of saying, fuck this, you're boring, and walking away to the next girl. So basically just ask yourself, am I leaving because I'm scared and I should be practicing? Or am I leaving because compared to all the other girls I talk to, she's fucking boring? You can figure out your answer from there. Lobster asks, I noticed a girl with an awesome ass walking in front of me. Since it's wintertime where I'm from, she also wore a hat, so I couldn't see her face unless I faced her. If you were to talk to her, what would you say when you stopped her from behind? A line, I really like you, wouldn't probably work well in this situation. In this situation, you can just go indirect. So when you walk up from behind and tap her on the shoulder, just ask her where the nearest Starbucks is or how to get to X building. And when she turns around to answer your question, if she's hot, you can just say exactly that. You can say, wow, you're very cute. I thought you were adorable. The usual opener. Or if she's ugly, then just have her tell you directions and just say thank you and leave. Simple as that.